Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a piece of technology that's quietly changing how we all get work done. It's called Robotic Process Automation, or RPA for short. So let's jump right in. All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start by meeting your new digital coworker. Then we'll zoom out to see why businesses are so fired up about this. After that, we'll peek under the hood to see how a bot is actually built, watch one do its thing, and then wrap up by talking about what this all means for the future of work.
First up, let's meet this digital coworker. And the best way to do that is to talk about the one big problem RPA was basically invented to solve: digital drudgery.
You know the feeling, right? That endless cycle of clicking the same button, copying some text from one window, and pasting it into another over and over again. It's that mind-numbing digital assembly line work. And that, right there, is exactly where RPA comes in.
So what exactly is it? Well, in the simplest terms, RPA is software that you can teach to mimic what a human does on a computer. Now, let's be clear. We are not talking about a physical robot sitting at a desk. The absolute key phrase to remember is digital worker. It's a piece of software trained to handle all those repetitive, rules-based tasks which frees you up to do, the more interesting, valuable stuff.
Okay, so let's pull back for a second and look at the big picture. How does this neat little tool become a huge business strategy? And why are companies so eager to get these digital workers on their team?
Well, first thing you got to know is that not all bots are created equal. On one side, you've got attended bots. Think of these guys as your personal assistant. You trigger them when you need help with a task. A great example is a call center agent who clicks a button and the bot instantly pulls up 5 different customer screens. Then on the other side, you have unattended bots. These are the autonomous workers. They just run 24/7 in the background, totally on their own, usually kicked off by some event, like processing a huge batch of invoices that came in overnight.
And the benefits? They go way beyond what you might think. I mean, sure, bots mean higher accuracy and better data quality, that makes sense. But one of the most surprising things is the impact on people. A Forrester survey found that for 72% of companies, RPA actually increased employee engagement. Why? Because it took away the most boring parts of their jobs.
Now, to be super clear, let's quickly cover what RPA is not. It's not a walking, talking robot. It's also way more powerful than just a simple macro you'd record in a spreadsheet. And it's definitely not a magic wand that can fix a broken business process. It'll just automate the broken process you already have. And this is a big one. It is not artificial intelligence itself, even though you can definitely pair them together to do some really smart stuff.
So how do you actually build one of these digital workers? Let's dive in and look at the nuts and bolts. And hey, don't worry, you absolutely do not need to be a coding genius to understand this part.
Everything, and I mean everything, starts with activities. The best way to think of these is like the individual Lego bricks for your automation. Each activity is one single tiny command. Open application, click a button, read this text file. By themselves, they're just small actions, but when you snap them together, you can build a whole process.
You arrange all those Lego bricks, those activities, into a structure. The two most common ones are a sequence and a flowchart. A sequence is exactly what it sounds like. It's like following a recipe, just a straight, linear, top-to-bottom list of steps. A flowchart, on the other hand, is more like a choose-your-own-adventure book. It's perfect for when your process has decision points and could go down a bunch of different paths.
So how does a bot make a decision in one of those flowcharts? Well, it uses really simple logic, the classic if/then statement. For instance, if the invoice is for more than $10,000, then send it for approval. Else, just pay it automatically. That's it. That's the core of how these bots handle different situations. Now, to make all of this work, bots use a few other key concepts. They use variables, which are basically just little containers to hold a piece of information for a moment, like a name or a number. They use loops to repeat a set of actions over and over, like for each and every row in this spreadsheet, do these 3 things. And of course, they can manipulate data and use the clipboard, just like you would. Okay, this next one is super important. It's called a data table. Honestly, the easiest way to picture it is as the bot's own in-memory spreadsheet. It lets the bot suck in a whole table of data from something like Excel and then work with it. It can sort it, it can filter it, it can remove duplicates, all before it uses that clean data to finish its job. All right, enough theory. We've seen all the building blocks. Now let's put them all together and watch a bot in action with a real-world example that saves companies a ridiculous amount of time.
So let's take a classic example, processing invoices. First, the bot is just sitting there monitoring an email inbox. When a new PDF invoice comes in, boom, it grabs it. It opens the PDF, extracts all the key info, the vendor, the amount, the date, and neatly organizes it all in its internal data table. Next, it logs into the accounting system and just starts plugging in all that data from the data table. And when it's done, it moves the PDF into an archived folder. All of it done, 0 human clicks.
And the impact? Is this really a big deal? You bet it is. This isn't just a theory. A company like Adobe used a similar automation for creating purchase orders, and it cut the time humans spent on that task by 79%. That is a game changer.
So finally, what does this all mean for the future of work? Because we're not just talking about another productivity tool here. This is really a fundamental shift in how we even think about what a workforce is.
You know, this quote from a Pega survey really just hits the nail on the head. The future isn't about people or bots. It's about people and bots. The actual definition of a workforce is expanding to include these digital employees, working right alongside us.
So I guess the big takeaway is to see this whole thing not as a threat, but as an evolution. By handing off the robotic, boring parts of our jobs to actual software robots, we're giving ourselves the chance to focus on what we humans do best, being creative, solving complex problems, and working with each other. The question really isn't if a bot is coming, it's how are you going to use your new assistant? Thanks for watching The Explainer.